Hello everybody and welcome back to Victoria 3, where we are currently fighting this absolutist revolt, and we need to get that dealt with. But first, we have a lot of authority on hand, so I kind of want to put in some consumption taxes here, I feel like. Let's go for a consumption tax on porcelain, and one on glass, and then we can do a consumption tax on liquor, and then a consumption tax on wine. So that'll be absolutely wonderful. That will also reduce our make it longer for this enactment time, which I'm hoping will give us time to crush this absolutist revolt. We'll see what happens with that. We've still got this front with Russia up over here, although actually that just instantly ended. Okay, that doesn't really matter. We're not very threatened on this front, and this front, I think the British would have held them forever, and this was very close to ending anyway. So that seems absolutely great. We're very happy that that war ends, but it's not even that big of a deal. We don't really care about it all that much. Now, I think the reason why this went down so much when these rebelled is because this is where all of our intelligentsia workers were in the university. So it's awkward that they went with in the absolutist revolt when they were the primary people supporting this. But I do want to change this army here over to rapid advance, so we're going to do that. We want to advance as quickly as possible against the absolutist revolt here. I'd love to have this crushed before this kick happens to boost up our success chance somewhat. I don't know that that'll actually be a thing, but we'll see. So let's move this right on in here. These battles are happening fairly quickly. They don't really have any manpower to resist us with, or rather to resist the British with. So we should be able to make our way through this relatively quickly, but none of these other units are capable of advancing at any speed other than advanced front. So that's just going to have to be how that is. We are redeploying here, which is not really ideal. We would like to just continue to press through, but let's see how this goes. So we're at 7% on enacting presidential republic at this point. And the question is, are we going to be able to get this all taken over by the time that happens? Can we get the rebellion crushed before this roll occurs? We're up to an 8% success chance. That's not bad. Trucial states want, the trucial states want military support. We're not going to give them any of that, obviously. Okay. So the British are redeploying. That's kind of awkward, but it's okay. How long do we have right now? 47 days? We might be able to crush this in 47 days. Baroda's damaging relations. I don't care. That's fine. So this is probably going to be dealt with very, very quickly. How are we doing here? We have 33 days. Okay. We're definitely making solid progress here. This battle is immediately happening again. The British have got that under control. And we're continuing to push in over on this side. We've currently got about 20 days to finish crushing this. Everything is coming down to this front. We're up to an 8% success chance, so that's, you know, something. Okay, let's finish this battle up. Only one battle left. We have 4 days. Oh, there's a battle up here. Bureaucratic imbroglio. We can cut through some of the red tape. That's what we're going to do. That'll give us another roll here. This thing is still alive. Okay. So let's crush this. Okay. I don't know if these numbers are going to exist long term. To be clear. And we're going to have some mild debt issues. But I don't know if these numbers are going to exist long term. But look at that. 30% and 19%. Let's see if that's a thing. 16 and 24. That's still way, way better odds. Incredibly better odds. So, we're very negative financially right now. We would still be negative if we stopped constructing, so I'm not sure that there's a reason to stop constructing at this time. I think we should just continue to work on our construction of opium plantations at this moment. So we're going to have to declare bankruptcy because of the Civil War, but that was expected. We probably would have had to before anyway. So that looks relatively okay. This is way better odds post-Civil War. So finally a bit of luck. Finally a bit of luck. So the last outcome was stall, but that's expected. And now there's only a 24% chance of stall. Debate, advance, and success are all good rolls, as far as I'm concerned. So there's a much, much better chance of this passing. In fact, there's a straight-up good chance of this passing. I think at this point, we're probably in a position where we can do significant gains to our various law changes. And that might make it so that we don't have to declare bankruptcy as well, depending on timing. Now, I want these rolls faster at this point. So I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to get rid of some of these consumption taxes. So this is 1.49K. I think that's worth keeping around. So I want this to be a lot faster. We can see here we're now 11% enactment time faster. So I want these rolls to be nice and quick from here. So we'll proceed. And yes, we have an illegitimate government right now. Who's in government? Intelligentsia? Okay, that's fine. We're going to be illegitimate no matter how we slice it. So that's okay. For right now, this is absolutely understood. Let's get this presidential republic passed. Now, we have to do this now. Intelligentsia are no longer considered powerful, so there's that. And these guys, they're going to have their clout regenerating over time. You can see they've already regenerated 3% of their clout, so that's understood. We have a limited window here. So let's get this going. And we're definitely seeing our GDP soaring at this moment. That's expected. We're getting these opium plantations built nice and quickly, which is indeed exactly the idea. So we're going to need a lot more construction going on there, but for right now, I'm quite pleased with this situation. We just really, really need to enact something here in terms of the law. We need to get another law change going immediately following this one, assuming we manage to pass it fairly quickly. So if we can change basically anything, that would be amazing. We can't really see what we can change right now while this is going, but we might be able to make a significant number of changes. Okay, so this trade route is currently inactive. Let's get rid of all of them. We don't really need them. So that'll be wonderful. That should boost our bureaucracy as well. So no issue there. We're slightly negative on our bureaucracy, and that's absolutely understood. There's a transportation shortage in Kandahar and Khorasan. We should get rid of, or we should deal with both of those. So in Kandahar, yeah, that definitely needs some work. And then in Khorasan, let's sort by name here. So that is going to be right here. Okay, so we'll get those going. We're going to prioritize those constructions for right now. Okay. So we're at only a 27% chance of stall. That is creeping its way up. But let's see what happens here. Our success chance is double, but we've also got double that of advance and almost double that of debate. So fingers crossed on this one. The Civil War, I'm going to call worthwhile at this point. So we've got about 25 days until this roll. It's going to continue to get worse, though. The landowners are going to recover. So we definitely need to work on bringing those down. So Presidential Republic here is likely to pass. Well, not in this tick necessarily, but we can definitely use this to build momentum for it, is the idea. Let's see what happens here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1... It passed. Amazing. Okay, so we are now officially a presidential republic. What else can we do in terms of law changes? We could go to any of this. I think total separation, because of the nihilist movement, is where we need to go. So our success chance is 30, our stall chance is 70. This is much higher success chance than we had previously. Let's give this a go. We're going to immediately get started on that. Our legitimacy is currently low. We're going to hold an election soon, I'm sure. But our president is currently our previous Shah, I believe. Yeah, and that's going to need to change. So in our government legitimacy, this is going to be a little bit awkward. When are we going to hold our next election, or rather our first election, is the question that must be asked here. And 70% stall is still a high stall chance, but I think that we might be able to get total separation passed here now with the are the Ulema no longer considered an interest group? That's interesting. That's very interesting. No, they're definitely there. What is their current clout? 2.7. Okay. So we're definitely going to work on that. The clout of the intelligentsia is about 15. The rural folk are one of the largest clout right now. That's understood. And yes, we're very negative financially, but we'll see if we're able to make any actual changes here. So total separation is going to give us some pretty substantial law changes here, but what we really need at this moment is to wait for the first election before we can make significant law changes. So when is this election going to be? Current government type does not allow election? Oh, we're a presidential dictatorship. Right. Because we're on autocracy. We might be able to change that soon enough. We would need a legitimate government for it, though? Okay. I'm not sure we can get a legitimate government right now, but we'll probably be able to get a legitimate government eventually. So we're going to need to work our way off of that, but just passing that presidential system is significant. So we passed directly into consideration here. That was good. And we'll see how many more rolls we get on that. Now, you can see here, our interest, incredibly high. Our interest is currently roughly the same as our construction cost. We're going to definitely be declaring bankruptcy when we get to default status. That's okay. We knew that that would likely be the case. So for now, that's fine. We're making progress here. But we have to move in this window of opportunity that we have. So that's understood. We're going to need to get legitimacy up over here. The best legitimacy that we can have right now is landowners. And the question is, when would we be able to change onto our distribution of power? So oligarchy would require, we can only enact laws with support from a political movement because we have an illegitimate government. So none of these have a political movement behind them. This did, the Nihilists. So let's take a look at our political movements. The Nihilists are supporting... So this is supporting church and state total separation. Yeah. And that's why we can do that. The peasant movement is land reformer. They're endorsing homesteading, and they are opposing land-based taxation. This is a pro-slavery movement. We've got the Pashtun National Movement, which is endorsing cultural exclusion. Persian supremacist movement. Okay. Animist rights here. What are they after? Total separation and legal guardianship. Okay. Shiite traditionalist movement is probably not useful for us at all. And we just progressed to adoption already. Ooh, that's good. Okay, so legal guardianship and state religion there, and then this is the same thing here. Okay, so pump jacks have been unlocked, and let's next go for... ideally mutual funds. That's 6 years out, though, and I don't think that's actually going to be that useful. We're probably better off going for threshing machines. So we can now go into our buildings here and ramp up some of these. So we actually need to go through all of these because the production methods would have been changed from the rebellion. So we definitely need to do that. And let's just see here. Furniture manufactories should be on precision tools. Rotary valve engine, yes, that's understood. And paper bleaching, yes, that's understood. Vacuum evaporation here. Looks good. We don't actually have an arms industry. Harvesting tools and fertilizers. There we go. Livestock ranches would be on increased wool gathering, and the rest of that looks fine. Condensing engine pumps and dynamite. Condensing engine pumps and dynamite. This would be on rail transportation. Steam donkeys. Dynamite and condensing engine pumps. There we go. And then all of these are going to go down to automatic irrigation, which will be a significant gain for us in theory, assuming that we don't have goods input issues, which we very well might. Engines are going to be expensive. And that's absolutely understood. Silk plantations should be on rail transportation as well. Conscription centers can be on general training. That's okay. Urban centers on public trams. Do we want to go down to market squares? I don't think it's necessary at this time. Okay, so government administration should be on filing cabinets. University should be on philosophy department. Logging camps can go to softwood production, but then steam donkeys and rail transportation, like that. Okay, so that should do the trick for right now. You can see our GDP here, absolutely soaring. We're at about 30 million for GDP right now. Okay, now it dropped to 20 million, but that's due to goods substitution. So that's absolutely understood. We're going to let that goods substitution occur, and this is going to happen considerably over time. So that looks great. Philosophy department here, we're going to take the university building throughput. So currently we need more innovation, but that's fine. I can't believe we're already on adoption on total separation here. We're finally having some good rolls on this. That is so good. Even being at 22.5 million is a huge gain for us, and this is going to continue to go up considerably. So I want to take a look at our transportation shortage in Coruscant. How are things looking here? Okay, we definitely need an additional railway here. So let's get that going, and we're continuing to work on opium plantations in Coruscant, and that's absolutely understood that that's going to take a while. So we're deficit spending at this moment. The intelligentsia want us to pass racial segregation within the next 5 years. Actually, so we're on slave trade right now. We could go to legacy slavery, which would boost, or rather reduce, the landowner political strength. I'd rather be on slavery banned. We could offer them legacy slavery here, which would be better than slave trade for us. What they're asking for, though, is they're asking for racial segregation. So that would be this. We're on national supremacy right now. They're asking for this. I'm going to offer them legacy slavery as a compromise. That would still be good for us. Okay, so I want to pin that. I want to remember that. And stamping out monarchism is something I wouldn't mind pinning as well. Okay, and there was another one that I wanted to pin here. That was... Did the Persian, or rather did the intelligentsia immediately give up on that? I don't know. We'll find out. So we have a 30% chance of just straight up passing total separation here, which would be absolutely great. We would be really happy about that. We're finally getting some movement on law changes. It just took a civil war to do it. So that's wonderful. Opium plantations in Coruscant are going to be finishing shortly. But the question is, what happens here? We've still got 2 setbacks we can take on this. So we need to win 1 of the next 3 rolls on a 30% chance. That is really good odds. Okay, so it stalled. We can take a 10% enactment success chance and nihilist attraction. And that's what we're going to do. So that was a good stall. We need to win 1 of the next 3 rolls again. We didn't lose a roll there, so we need to win 1 of the next 3 rolls on a 40% chance. That's starting to look like real, actual progress odds. So that's absolutely wonderful, and I do want to build oil rigs where we can. Okay, this is in Arabistan, which is, of course, our client state. But I'm definitely interested in building some of these... I think is a fairly high priority. I want to know, how long does it take to build them? 15 weeks? Okay. Noted. So we can do something like this, and then build all of these until these are, like, negative, but we can bring this back to, like, 3 here, And this is like market saturation at this point, right? That's what this is. This is market saturation on oil for the moment. But we can expand that going forward, and that will be something we need to do. And then I think I want to intersperse in opium plantations like this so that these are nice and quick. Something like this. I want to still be working on opium as our primary cash crop. And then bring this guy right on up to here. And then bring in another opium plantation right about there. This guy should go actually up to here. There we go. And we can just do something kind of like this. Yeah, that looks good. And then opium plantation here and then here. Right? Yes. Okay, so that'll work. We're working on some oil rigs here, and that will be wonderful. Oil rigs and opium plantations. So we'd love to see some privatization happening here. We've got a lot of debt. We've got a lot of interest. Our plan is still to declare bankruptcy, but we'll see if that ends up happening. So we're trying to roll as quickly as we can on total separation right now, and we're up to a 38% success chance. That's looking wonderful. And as far as stamping out monarchism goes, we would need one additional interest group in Persia that doesn't want monarchy. Okay. So that's noted. We're up to 24.8 million in GDP at this moment, and how are things looking here? So we still have a transportation shortage in Khorasan. We're working on this railway. That will get expanded soon enough, but that's another good reason to build these oil rigs because we're building heavily in Khorasan right now. So that is absolutely understood. Let's see what happens with total separation here. We've got a 40% chance of just passing. In fact, 42% now. Let's see what happens. Stall again. That's a little unfortunate. So 25% chance of enactment success chance, or we could just get a 10% reduction. But, I mean, this is a 10% reduction, 75%, and we did fail that, but that's okay. We can take 2 additional setbacks. So as long as we get this thing passed, that's great. We'll continue to work on it, but it's unfortunate that we failed 2 of those rolls, but neither one gave us a setback. That's a big deal. So that's absolutely wonderful. We're going to finish up this railway soon, and yes, our finances are awful. Absolutely awful right now. But I'm okay with that. We've got Britain to protect us. We don't need to be too worried about declaring bankruptcy. So we're going to finish up these railways. And that looks wonderful. And this oil rig is going to finish as well. So we're going to be diversifying our income a little bit in that regard. That looks great. Finances, not so much, but we need to get some of these law changes done before our finances really start to balloon. But we've more than doubled our GDP in the last, year. So I'm very pleased with that. Things are going extraordinarily well at this time. The Civil War was necessary. That's very clear. So we'll see what happens on this next total separation roll. That'll be very interesting. We've finished up that railway in Khorasan. Are we still having an issue here? Yes, is the answer. So we need another railway in Khorasan. Let's get that going. We'll continue to produce additional... The price here is beginning to drop, but we definitely need to produce additional transportation here. We no longer have a shortage, but the price is high. Okay, so we'll get this railway done, and then we'll get all of this built. As we get these additional opium plantations in Khorasan constructed, it's going to definitely take some additional transportation to get that all to market. Let's see what happens with total separation here. Stall again. Okay. So do we want to take a setback here? The answer is yes. So we're going to take a setback, and we're going to reduce that time by 10%. We'll get another roll here. It is unfortunate that we've been running into stalls this frequently on this, but we've still got a 30% chance of passage. So we'll see what happens with that. We sailed straight through the first 2 rolls, and that put us in a really good position here. So that's wonderful. At this point, our opium plantations are progressing nicely. We can see that our GDP is working on recovery. I'm not sure what that spike up to 30 was. I don't think that was real, to be honest. but our GDP is steadily growing at this point. Now, that's probably going to stagnate a bit when we're forced to declare bankruptcy. But for the moment, things are looking really, really good for us in every category except our debt. Our debt is the core issue right now, and that's a solvable issue. It'd be great if we could get, like, Britain to pay our debt. Take on debt. They wouldn't accept. They have 285 reasons not to, but that would still be funny if they did. Yeah, that's not going to happen. They are themselves in debt, but even so, that's funny. We're going to declare bankruptcy, most likely, is the plan. It's not that big of a deal. So now the question is, if we get one more roll on this, how's this going to go? We going to get another stall? If we do, that's still kind of in the category of bad luck, but we'll see. So we're back down to roughly our original success rate here. The nihilist movement is not really boosting this. It's boosting it by 18%. Okay, we hit another stall here. That's unfortunate, but let's take a second setback here and boost that up to 42%. Things are getting spicy on that, but it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we're going to see what happens with this total separation. We still should be able to get this passed. Theoretically. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Andy McGard, Dark Horse, Xenocyte, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.